This video will work through the steps you need to take to complete the Timely Tides lab activity. So what you're going to do is look through your packet and find the diagram that looks like this. You're going to follow the instructions which are listed here for Timely Tides, but I'm going to walk through them with you as well to assemble your tide model. You're going to make this model in order to use it to answer the questions for the lab demonstration. So the first thing it says is cut along the broken line of the pattern page. So you're going to cut along this broken line right in the middle, just like that. Then it says cut out the Earth and lunar orbiter. So we're going to leave this as it is, and we're going to use this one here. See, this says lunar orbiter and the Earth. And then the next step says to color the ocean blue. So I'm actually going to do that first because I think it's easier to color it very quickly like this, and then I can cut it out and just cut off the part that I went out of the lines. So there, my ocean is colored blue, just like that. And I'm going to, just for fun, I'm going to color some bits on my Earth as well, just to represent that it's Earth. I've kind of got green and blue for my Earth. Just like that. Okay, so once you do that, we're going to cut this out. When you're cutting, I always like to give a little lesson in cutting while we're here. You always want to keep your scissors straight up and down and move around the thing that you're cutting. So you can see that my scissors are keeping the same orientation while the thing that I'm cutting out, I'm rotating with my hands. So I'm going to cut out here. I'm going to do it kind of quickly so this video doesn't get too long. You can follow along as well. So we're cutting out around our lunar orbiter just like that. Then it says also to cut out our Earth, so I'm going to do that as well. Again, I'm keeping my scissors straight, not moving my scissors around, but instead moving the thing that I'm cutting. That's just good scissor technique. Okay, so now it says use a pencil here in our instructions, use a pencil to poke a hole at the center of the Earth lunar orbiter and the moon. So I'm going to use this pencil, and I've poked a hole right there in the center of that one, and I'm going to poke a hole right in the center of this one. Then it says align the hole of each piece. Oh, and I also need to put a hole in the center of this one, the moon path around the Earth. So we're going to go right in the center of that as well with my with my pencil. So it says align the whole of each piece, moon path on the bottom, then the orbiter and the Earth on top, like this. Insert a fastener through the holes to connect the parts. So it's talking about a fastener that looks like this. It's going to go through these 2 points. It's going to slide through there. Then you'll be able to open it on the back, like this. And then you'll be able to move each of these parts independently. Now, you might be thinking, Mrs. Talon, I don't have any of those nifty little fastener brads at home. Well, never fear. There's always plenty of creative ways to solve problems. So one of the ways that you could solve the problem is by using a paper clip. So here I have a paper clip. I'm going to open it up just like that. I'm actually going to turn it to the side like this so it'll lay flat. Now this might be a little bit more tricky to use, but it should still work fine. You can then put the end of the paper clip through your 3 layers, just like that. And then you can that's why I turned it so it would lay flat on the table. And then even though it's sticking up, I can still then move all of the pieces around. If you don't have a paper clip and you still are looking for something, in the past I've taken a piece of string and run it through here. You could also, again, it might not work quite as easily, but you could take a sharp pencil and stick it through there. And even though you couldn't make it stay on, you could, in a pinch, hold it on there on a pencil to turn it around. You can see I have a pencil underneath, and I'm just holding it up there. So you could do that if you really didn't have anything to stick through. Girls could use a bobby pin or a hair rubber band. You might be able to run through a piece of cut and open piece of rubber band would work well. Any number of solutions you can come up with, pretty much anything that you can stick through there and that will allow the pieces to move. So that's what you're going to use. In the meantime, I am going to stick my little brad back in, since I do happen to have one, and then we'll step through the next parts of the activity. So we've made the model. We're going to then follow the instructions. It says fold the orbiter up. So that when it says to do that, it's talking about this. And point where the arrow and ocean water connect. From the Earth, the moon should be higher than the sky. So then you can basically do it like this, so that the little moon sticks up and you can move it around. Okay, so to begin the activity, it says place the model on your desk with the sun rays coming from the left. Turn the Earth until position D is at 12 o'clock noon. So D is 12 noon. That's going to be here. So the reason I know that D is 12 noon, it's going to be on the left, is because the sunlight is directly hitting it. So we know that the Earth is moving in a counterclockwise direction. It's rotating counterclockwise. And D, right now, the part that's facing exactly toward the sunlight, that's going to be 12 noon. So we could even jot it in. This right here is 12 o'clock noon, isn't it? Because it's the direction of the sunlight. It's right when the sun is directly overhead. So this is going to be 12 noon. Alternatively, this over here is going to represent midnight. It's going to be the middle of the night. So you can keep that in mind. So then with your Earth positioned with the Earth where D is at noon, it's asking what part of the Earth is having midnight. Well, we just discussed that. So if D is here, then the part that's having midnight is B. And then what part of the Earth is experiencing sunset? So imagine that if the Earth is turning this way, the part, if it's turning this way, then after it's been in the sunlight over here, 12 noon, then this part over here is moving away from the sun and into the dark. So C would be experiencing sunset, and of course, then A would be experiencing sunrise. So with that example, work through the questions using your model to answer the questions on your lab. So again, remember, keep in mind that noon is directly facing the sun and midnight is away from the sun. And then it's going to have you moving the orbiter, the moon, and the Earth independently and answering questions.